Procrastination defined my life until I was about to turn 19, right? That's when I decided that I needed to solve this procrastination problem and I just couldn't put it off anymore, right? I didn't want the stress of unfinished work and the repercussions of just constantly pushing things to the last minute, right? Through a lot of struggle and trial and error in a couple month period, I was finally able to actually solve my procrastination issue and figure out the reason why I was procrastinating in the first place. Procrastination was just such a big part of who I was that I actually started to use the phrase, the last minute is my minute, a lot growing up, right? It was kind of just something that I used to throw around because I thought it was funny. But as I got older, right, it just became super sad to me. And it left my vocabulary because what it really meant was I don't take initiative ever. Right? I had all the time in the world at that point in my life, and I was not doing anything important with it, right? I was pushing off anything important. Right? The procrastination mindset applied to absolutely everything in my life, from the gym to starting a business, which I've wanted to do forever, but I just always kept putting off. Even just getting a job, right? Everything was just coded in procrastination. But I broke out of this cycle, and it is 100% doable for anybody if they just know how to actually attack it. The cycle of procrastination ultimately comes down to a few things, but at the end of the day, a large portion of it comes from your self-image, right? This is the first thing I want to talk about. Your self-image has been created and just changed and formed since you were born, right? Since that day. And a lot of things that happen to you in childhood will stick with you, even if you don't realize it. And they're going to change how you view yourself and how you view your own capabilities. This is like, I don't know if you've ever heard this, but when there's those classes for the super gifted kids, right? The kids who are told that they're gifted end up not doing super well because they believe that they can just coast by and get everything that they want because they're already naturally gifted. And then the kids that are told that they're putting in good effort and hard work, those kids end up doing super well in their careers going ahead because they view themselves as a hard worker, right? They don't think that everything just comes to them like the gifted kids were told. Right? And this is how self-image, and especially what you're taught during childhood, can echo into your future. So right now, right, ask yourself how you view yourself, right? How do you view your capabilities as a worker? Do you think of yourself as responsible, hardworking, smart, or do you view yourself as a slacker who doesn't care about the work and somebody who's always procrastinating, always putting it off, right? How do you currently view yourself? Right? This is important because it says a lot about not only how you view yourself, but how you're going to act. Because essentially, you don't act outside of how you view yourself. Right? People who don't view themselves as courageous and brave, right, aren't going to act in those moments where courage and bravery are needed. Right? You're not going to act out of your character unless you are intentionally doing it. This is honestly the reason that most people don't take those big leaps in life, is because they don't view themselves as capable people and they don't have trust in themselves, right? You have to have trust in yourself. You're the only person that you can 100% trust. You have to believe that you're a capable person, and you have to believe that you can handle whatever's thrown at you and trust that you'll be able to work it out because you are the only person, again, that you can 100% trust, and you're the person who knows you best. When I did this for myself, I realized that I did think I was smart, and that comes from school, right? I was one of those kids where I was always praised for being smart, not for hard working. And when I asked myself this, I also found that I was just not a hard worker at all, and I didn't think of myself as that. I thought of myself as someone who was smart enough to do the bare minimum and get by. And describing myself like that out loud made me realize that that is not who I wanted to be at all, dude. Like, just imagine saying, yeah, my life is great because I do the bare minimum and I get by. Right? That's not who you want to be. That's not who anyone wants to be. When you figure out who you are as a worker and how you associate yourself with the work that you're doing right now, right, it becomes clear what areas you really need to change and what areas you want to change, right, for a better life. You don't want to be defined and view yourself as a slacker for the rest of your life, right? It doesn't feel good to be a slacker. It doesn't feel good to be a procrastinator, but you're viewing yourself that way, so you're going to act in alignment with it. For me, the biggest change that I needed to make when it came to work was just actually becoming a hard worker. Because, right, thinking of yourself as smart is not a bad thing. And I do tend to think of myself as smart, not to sound, I guess, cocky or overconfident. But I was just an absolute horrible hard worker. And I needed to become someone who took the initiative, put their head down, and did the hard work, especially when they didn't want to. Right? That is the moment where I started to actually change. When I realized and had a clear goal of who I wanted to become. Right? I would tell myself every single time that I felt like being lazy or procrastinating, and it was a legitimate instance, right? Like I had not earned it in any way at all. I would tell myself that I'm a hard worker and that that is not who I am. I don't procrastinate. I would just reinforce this over and over again, right? And when it came to school, I would tell myself, no, dude, I'm a responsible student and I get my work done ahead of time. And the more I told myself this, the more my reality just started to become that. I started to just naturally, without even thinking about it, do things the second they came to me. And then once I was finished with school, I would immediately start working hard on my YouTube and on just learning and becoming a better version of myself. And one thing that helped me extremely in fighting off the urge of procrastination, because it is super strong and super convincing a lot of the time to just not do the work and stay in your procrastination mode. But one thing that helped a lot was focusing on the rewarding end of accomplishing the work, right? The feeling that you get when you have finally gotten done that last bit of work that you had hours of time put into, right? The payoff feeling is amazing. And that pushed me to work harder so that I could get that payoff feeling more and more and more, right? When you get your payoff from outside stimuli, a lot of the time, like most people do, and I still do sometimes, right? I still watch YouTube and occasionally, I'll play a video game here or there when I've earned it and when I have the downtime. But you had to really focus on this rewarding feeling, and when you get most of your reward from the work, that's how you get addicted to hard work, right? That's when hard work becomes what you do for fun. I had to mentally reframe completely who I was to make this shift into becoming addicted to hard work. And once I followed through and became that person, procrastination basically left my life, because I didn't view myself as a slacker. I didn't view hard work as something that I hated. And I didn't view myself as somebody who didn't take initiative anymore. I thought of myself as a responsible student who was a hard worker and took initiative to change their life. And I drilled that into my head until that's how I now view myself. Right? I am the same person, the same experiences were had. All I did was mentally reframe who I was and use that to get what I wanted out of life. Right? I wanted to be capable of doing hard work, so I told myself I was and that I loved it. And I just drilled this every single day. And this is extremely useful to make large changes super quickly in your life, because it actually takes a surprisingly short amount of time to make this mental adjustment. where literally within a week, I was doing 2 or 3 times the work that I'd ever done before in my life. And it's only really just increased from there to where I don't really even think about doing the work anymore. I just do it. Right? I just know what I have to do and I do it. And I plan accordingly. I work everything out. I get up and I do it. That's all there is to it now. But it's because I did this mental reframing. A huge reason, besides your self image, that people procrastinate is because they just genuinely don't care about the work that they're doing. And I 100% understand that. That was me for 99% of high school and all of school really before that. I just did not give a fuck about school. It was super boring, pretty easy for the most part, and not something that I really found myself enjoying at all ever. And that's why I did the bare minimum in school. But when I went to college, right, I still had classes that I didn't enjoy and work that I didn't want to do that was going to take me hours. But what worked for me to actually make myself do this ahead of time and not put it off and not procrastinate was to try as much as possible to relate it to a goal or something of my benefit. For me personally, right, I was trying to build YouTube up. I was trying to get better at YouTube. So the only way that I could really bring myself to actually just want to get this hard work out of the way that was related to school was to think of it as doing this now frees up and gives me a bunch of extra time to dedicate towards YouTube and friendships and actually being like a social person in my environment, right? Freeing this up now gives me so many future benefits that I just have to do it right now, right? There's no other option. When I did this combined with just viewing myself as a hard worker in general, it was kind of a no-brainer to grind out the work, get it done, so that I could either do more work that I actually wanted to do, which is kind of the mindset that you're going to have if you're stuck in that 9 to 5 job and it's one that you don't like at all. You can relate it and relate the work that you have to do to money in that instance, but for a lot of people, the money is not worth the soul-sucking just grind that you have to do that's super monotonous. Right. But if you use that and think of the work that you're doing there as not only money to just live, but work that once you get done frees up the rest of your day to work on something you care about, and you focus only on that, getting to work on something you care about, you're going to have that energy and drive when you go home to absolutely crush the hard work that you probably wouldn't have done before because you would have made excuses like, I'm tired from work. I've done a lot today. I don't have time for this. I just want to relax, right? Any excuse you could have possibly come up with, you usually would have thrown at that. But because you've reframed how you think about the work and put in a benefit or a goal to getting that 9 to 5 work done, now you just go ahead, you do it, and then you get home and you're ready to attack the next thing. Focus on the bright side of the work that you have to do so that you can still be motivated when you get home for the work that you get to do. And there's a big difference between get to do and have to do. The work that you have to do is like your 9 to 5 work. But the work that you get to do is the work that should excite you. It can still be hard, right? Like nobody said building a business is going to be easy, but it should be something that you get to do. An exciting project for you to work on, a new chapter in your life. We are, as a species, very susceptible to influences. And if you tell yourself and always feel tired after work, try telling yourself that you are full of energy when you're done with work and you get home. Just do this for a week, right? Tell yourself you're full of energy throughout the whole day. And you'll notice that when you get home, you are more energized and ready to do the work. And when you're just focusing on the silver lining of the work that you get to do when you get home, not the work that you have to do, everything just clicks into place. Everything becomes a lot more enjoyable, right? Because it's hard work, but it's work that is rewarding in the moment and beyond that, because you're putting work and effort into something that's going to bear fruit later on, and you know that. And the same tactics can be used for just procrastination itself, right? When you feel like procrastinating, tell yourself that I'm ready to do work right now. I'm full of energy and excited to do work right now. And just repeat this every time that you feel like you want to put work off and you're not ready to do the work. And over time, you will always feel ready to do the work whenever you get a hint of procrastination. It's going to be overtaken by that readiness to do work. And that's a beautiful thing. You're not always going to want to do the work, especially when you have to do it. But you can always find a reason to do it and use internal motivation and suggestion to really push you to actually just start. Right? The final biggest reason that people don't end up doing the work and end up procrastinating is because they're scared of what starting actually means. They're scared of how little they know about diving into a new endeavor and doing that hard work and putting things off so that they never have to face the pain of learning, growing, and experiencing something new for the first time. Right? That's a huge factor in procrastination. And if you can just get over that hump, mentally reframe your self-image and affirm who you want to be, who you are, and always look for that silver lining in the work that you have to do, then procrastination is going to become one of your least prevalent problems. It's going to be one of those problems that is barely present in your life. If you just follow these steps and do them every single day, at every opportunity that you get, every time that you feel like procrastinating, you say no. You mentally reframe yourself. You tell yourself who you want to be, who you are, and just actually sit down and do the work. Procrastination will be a thing of the past. If you are still struggling with work, clarity on your goals, and just actually being a productive individual, right, then I strongly suggest that you hop on a call with me. Let's schedule it in the first link in the description. I will guarantee that I can help you become a more productive worker, reassess your mindset to make you want to do the work and put off procrastinating, and then just give you clarity on where to go next in your business, where to take your goals and your dreams next, so that you can actively make progress towards something that you're confident and enthusiastic about. If that sounds good, click the first link in the description. If not, I hope this video was valuable. Like and subscribe if it was. And as always, stay blessed.